biggest, most powerful, fastest skis on the water. More than 380 horsepower, speeds in excess of 170 kilometers an hour, riders pushing themselves and their skis to the limit. The blue ribbon event, the Runabout, has more than 140 riders from 30 countries battle it out in the GP1, GP2 and GP4 World Championships in Olbia, Italy. The UIM ABP Aquabike World Championship headed to this gem in northeastern Sardinia, where notoriously rough water conditions awaited as round 2 of the 2018 season got underway with a Grand Prix of Mediterranean in Olbia. It was an action-packed weekend with Runabout GP1, GP2 and GP4, Freestyle, Ski GP1, GP2 and GP3, and the Ski Ladies GP1. In this program, we bring you all the Runabout and Freestyle action. Classic beach town with sun, sea, and sand that attracts visitors and holiday makers to this idyllic location year-round. Olbia stands out for its greenery, with the many parks that are found throughout the city. It's also a place steeped in history, going back thousands of years and spanning many different cultures and epochs, represented in the varied architecture of the old city quarters till this day. Crowning the city center of Olbia is the impressive San Simplicio Basilica, which is surrounded by a lively town square. This is a city with no shortage of incredible views and vistas, as the city and the surrounding countryside, beaches, islets, and distant hills all make for one of the most lovely settings in the Mediterranean. It was the perfect setting for the UIM ABP Aquabike World Tour as the island welcomed the Aquabike family. Known for its rough, open water conditions, the Olbia circuit is a small, tight, technical, and very demanding one, where experience and physical fitness will be key.
The course is a little bit more tight than normally. It's pretty bumpy out there because of the wall, so the water can come back splashing. It's a little bit like a wash machine, so the ski play around a lot. But I like it, it's fun, yeah.
Another close battle is anticipated in Runabout GP1, with defending and 4-time world champion Yusuf Al Abdulrazak of Kuwait looking to try to extend his 9-point advantage in the title race after taking overall victory in the first round at the Grand Prix of Italy in Gallipoli.
Last race went perfect. We had an almost perfect score, and the conditions in this race is totally different than the last one. We did third in the pole position. It was very close between top 3. I feel good, just a little back pain, but I think the weather condition will get calmer when we start, and I think I would like that more.
But there are a raft of riders who are ready and willing to spoil it all for the world champion, led by round 1 runner-up Jeremy Perez. The Frenchman has come close to the world title many years now, and he will be seeking to build on his excellent start to the year in Gallipoli.
I did a good race. First moto I know was good in half. I don't found me with the jet ski, and after in second moto I found me, and was a good result for me. Second from the first round of the World Championship is good. I hope to make it like here the same.
A name to look out for is Hungarian Georgi Kasha, who finished on the podium at the Grand Prix of Italy after producing a sensational Moto 1 win last round in Gallipoli, his second ever UIM ABP Moto win. A man who has the potential to beat anyone if only he can avoid technical mishaps is Marcus Jorgensen of Denmark. A former Grand Prix winner, Jorgensen needs to find the consistency that will make him a season-long contender in 2018. Last year's world runner-up, Swede Lars Åkerblom, heads a group of riders all capable of challenging the front runners, with the likes of Christoph Agostinho, James Bushell, Mattia Fracasso, Rashid Altair, and Spaniards Roberto Alexander and Alejandro Molina, all gunning for a place on the podium in Olbia. Runabout GP1, Moto 1, the first of two motos of the Grand Prix of the Mediterranean, as 24 riders get ready to do battle in the unforgiving waters off Olbia. Riders unfurl their national flags and salute the crowds and warm up their engines with a customary parade lap. In a surprise qualifying result the day before, it was Marcus Jorgensen who took pole position in the time trials, edging out Emirati Rashid Altair by 0.7 seconds as Altair starts Moto 1 in P2 ahead of world champion Yusuf Al Abdulrazak, who starts in P3. Then Jeremy Perez in P4, Christoph Agostinho in 5th, Georgi Kasha 6th, with Mattia Fracasso starting in P7, while Lars Åkerblom and James Bushell would start in the bottom half of the field, both unable to post a time in qualifying. The riders line up for the rolling start. There goes the flag, they're off! Pole sitter Jorgensen off to a decent start, but just look at Rashid Altair to his right. The man from Abu Dhabi is flying out there, shooting into the lead of this 25-minute plus 1 lap race. As Altair assumes control of the race on the starting straightaway and leads the field past the whole shots, Jeremy Perez shoots up into second behind him, with Jorgensen bumped down to third, then Yusuf Al Abdulrazak in fourth, followed by Christoph Agostinho in fifth, as the race gets off to a thunderous start here in these churning open sea waters. The field enters the split course, Rashid Altair in the green track, Jeremy Perez in the blue, as the two lock horns to see who would get through the slalom fastest. Rashid Altair races fast and tight and holds on to that lead against the aggressive and experienced Jeremy Perez, the Frenchman racing with a mission out there after his podium result in round 1 in Gallipoli. Behind the leading 5 skis are number 55 Georgi Kasha of Hungary, who was also on the podium in round 1 at the Grand Prix of Italy, and then in 7th is former world champion Mattia Fracasso of Italy. It's a brilliant start to the race for Rashid Altair as he races his heart out, knowing the caliber of riders behind him in these rough waters where anything could happen at any time. But the Emirati is up to the challenge, and positions remain the same for the top 4 riders until lap 7, with barely a couple of seconds separating Altair, Perez, Jorgensen, and Al Abdulrazak. Behind the top 4, another group of riders cuts away from the rest of the pack as Agostinho, Kasha, Fracasso are joined by Dmitry Tsukov in 8th position, with Lars Åkerblom behind them in 9th, the defending 2017 world runner-up trying to move up the field here in Moto 1 in Olbia. But things are starting to change as Yusuf Al Abdulrazak takes on Marcus Jorgensen in the alternate split course as they go head-to-head in a parallel slalom showdown. Jorgensen in the blue, Al Abdulrazak in the green. Jorgensen tries desperately to fend off the Kuwaiti ace, but to no avail. Yusuf Al Abdulrazak moves past the Dane into 3rd spot. The 4-time world champion now setting his sights on Jeremy Perez in 2nd position behind race leader Rashid Altair. Misfortune yet again for Marcus Jorgensen as the Dane ski breaks down and his race comes to a premature end. Back to the race, Rashid Altair having trouble getting past the crowded field of backmarkers, and that gives Jeremy Perez the chance he's been looking for as Perez navigates his way through skillfully to get past Rashid Altair, bumping the Emirati down to 2nd on lap 12. But Altair's troubles continue as Yusuf Al Abdulrazak also passes Altair on the same lap, bumping him down to 3rd in one fell swoop. We're with Roberto Alexander of Spain now. He's neck and neck with American Anthony Radetich, and they collide. Alexander is in the water. Up in the lead now, it's round 1 runner-up Jeremy Perez holding firm and putting in some excellent laps as he holds off Al Abdulrazak lap after lap. The Kuwaiti going all out, but the Frenchman is just too strong on the day. There it is, a well-deserved win for Jeremy Perez, the Frenchman's first moto win in 3 years. A long wait, but it's been well worth it. Yusuf Al Abdulrazak is Moto 1 runner-up behind Jeremy Perez. In third place, Georgi Kasha gets past Rashid Al Tayer on lap 14 and holds on to come in third ahead of Emirati rider in fourth. Then Mattia Fracasso manages to come in fifth ahead of Dimitri Sukov sixth, Alejandro Molina seventh, Lars Ackerblom eighth, James Bushell fighting from behind to come in ninth, and Augustinio dropping back to 10th by race end.
Yes, I won. I'm very happy. I wait a few laps because Rashid Al Tayer was fast. I try to stay behind him. And one moment I have the possibility to pass him. I take him and after I go front. And I have my back Youssef that pushed me a lot, but I stay first for the end of the race. I'm very happy.
In the mad topsy-turvy world of freestyle, Abu Dhabi's Rashid Al Mullah will be looking to extend his 8-heat, 3 Grand Prix winning streak and stretch his 10-point lead in the standings. The daunting task of trying to break Al Mullah's run in Olbia will fall on the closest of his rivals, Roberto Mariani, the European and Italian champion and round 1 runner-up. With Mariani's countryman Alberto Camerlengo also up to the challenge alongside newcomer Paulo Nunez and Russian rider Alexander Kuramshin, who are all set to continue their aerial scrap for the remaining podium places. Moto 1 of the freestyle in Olbia was raced at night ahead of the parallel slalom event as guests, visitors and fans descended on the waterfront to party up ahead of the night show Freestyle Moto Feast. It was a splendid performance under lights from the 5 riders in Moto 1. Alexander Kuramshin put out an excellent repertoire to score the points he needed to get in ahead of Paulo Nunez of Portugal. Roberto Mariani put on a great display, once again guaranteeing second place with a brilliant series of backflips, combos, and some trademark moves of his own, as he put it all out there in a bid to challenge Rashid Al Mullah. But the Emirati ace continued his unbeaten run with an incredible flurry of powerful tricks, producing big air, lots of spectacular stunts, drawing the oohs and ahs from the crowd as he extended his streak of Moto wins to 9 on the trot, as Rashid Al Mullah claimed the Moto 1 win and another 25 points. From that familiar feeling, stress keeps building. It's about to blow. Mariani came close, just 5 points behind Al Mullah, who wins with a combined Moto 1 score of 87 out of 100. Third place, Kuramshin, despite equal points with Nunez, Kuramshin's style winning out over Nunez's quantity. In Moto 2 the next day, daylight seemed to improve Camerlengo's performance as the Italian got the local support behind him and executed a solid routine with some good combos and a series of impressive backflips. This time, Kuramshin was unable to produce the same quality in his routine, despite some unique moves, the Russian not dazzling like he did under lights. No one else is looking through your eyes. What they do, try and criticize. We got to do the work. We need the ball out. Paulo Nunez went out and put in a good routine with series and combos. But his lack of power and ending mishap cost him a possible shot at a podium. Roberto Mariani knew how to whip up support from the local fans, cheering their national champion on, as he once again stepped up to the challenge and put it all out there, ending with a signature Superman, leaving all in his wake except one man. Rashid Al Mullah, going for an incredible 10th consecutive Moto and 4th consecutive Grand Prix win. Al Mullah was in fine form as he got things off with a bang and then never slowed down, producing a masterful display of acrobatic brilliance that once again left the field behind and the crowd applauding for more. Al Mullah has the kind of power in that ski, and none of the other contenders can get that kind of air into their routines. With that extra air, Almulla gets that extra turn, that extra spin, that extra something that sets him apart from his rivals out there. Even better than Moto 1, Almulla gets 93 points out of 100, Mariani on 82, runner-up. Camerlengo this time does it, taking third ahead of Kuramshin and Nunez.
I feel good, and my hand is okay, and I'm glad we do good show.
The Grand Prix winner yet again, Rashid Almulla, Mariani runner-up, Kuramshin edges out the competition for third place on the podium. That moves Almulla to a perfect 100 points atop the world standings ahead of Mariani on 80 points in second and Camerlengo in third on 59 points. In addition to the Runabout GP1, there was also the Runabout GP2 and GP4 Championships run over 3 heats each in Olbia. In the Runabout GP2, Samuel Johansson of Sweden won the first 2 of 3 motos and was runner-up in the final moto to outclass the competition, taking the top step of the podium ahead of Moto 3 winner Ismail Rojas Garcia of Spain, with Mindaugas Jasiauskas of Lithuania coming in third. In the Runabout GP4, it was German Philip Salabeer who took the first 2 motos ahead of runner-up Rasmus Koch Hansen of Denmark, and although Hansen beat Salabeer in Moto 3, it was Salabeer who would claim the GP4 title, Hansen runner-up, Matthias Seaman of Estonia third. After the first day of racing, crowds and riders got to experience the thrill of the parallel slalom night show, where ski and runabout aces went head-to-head in a thrilling elimination-style showdown. Jeremy Perez was in fine form in the runabout, taking on Marcus Jorgensen in a thrilling semifinal before encountering Yusuf Al Abdul-Razak in the final. But it was Jeremy Perez who got the better of the world champion, Perez, king of the parallel slalom. Runabout GP1 Moto 2 would see Moto 1 winner Jeremy Perez on pole, looking to fend off the fire to his side in the form of Yusuf Al Abdul-Razak and Hungarian Georgi Kasha as they all vie for the Grand Prix of the Mediterranean title. The riders line up for the start of Moto 2 and the races go. Poor start from pole sitter Perez and also Al Abdul-Razak, but it's a brilliant start from Georgi Kasha, the Hungarian flying off on that opening drag race to the hole shots, leaving the competition in his wake. Kasha leads the field of over 20 riders past the green hole shots and into the circuit as he seeks to build on his third place in Moto 1, looking for a second podium in a row in 2018. Kasha leads the field into the split course, opting for the green track. Behind him, it's Emirati Rashid Al Tayer, who led the entire first half of Moto 1, and then in third just behind him is Kuwaiti Yusuf Al Abdul-Razak. Jeremy Perez in the split course, he's in the blue track, the Moto 1 winner looking to move up a position here at the start. And look at that, Jeremy Perez smokes both Al Tayer and Al Abdul-Razak as the Frenchman settles into second. As Altair drops, Dmitry Sukhov is up in fourth. Then in fifth is Roberto Alexander. Further back down the field, there's a collision between Lars Åkerblom and Christoph Agostinho. As we get a bird's eye view, Åkerblom continues the race, but unfortunately, Agostinho is out. As the waters get rougher and choppier, another tumble. Number 33, Gediminas Leonis of Lithuania, but he manages to continue. No such luck for Rashid Al Tayer. The Emirati rider is out of the race. Up in the lead, racing like there's no tomorrow, Georgi Kasha, the 2-time Moto winner, looking on course for a third UIM ABP race win in Olbia. Behind him, giving chase with all he's got, is Moto 1 winner Jeremy Perez, the Frenchman trying to cut that gap, but the Hungarian is super fast. Both the lead riders will also be looking out for defending world champion Abdulrazak, who's right behind them in third. And then it's a surprise name, Dmitry Tsukov, up in fourth. Both Abdulrazak and Jeremy Perez have been flagged, and they will have to pull off the course for 10 seconds. Behind the four leading skis are Roberto Alexander of Spain, Guy Greenland of Australia, Lars Ackerblom in seventh, and then Patrice Pellier of France in eighth. Jeremy Perez only just sees the penalty flag he's been given, so he pulls aside for the required 10 seconds before re-entering the race. He finally jumps back in just ahead of Dmitry Tsukov. Georgi Kasha still leading the race, head and shoulders ahead of the field, but Jeremy Perez maintains second position despite the time penalty he was given, although Tsukov is now breathing down the Frenchman's neck. On lap 5, Abdulrazak manages to get past Dmitry Tsukov, the Kuwaiti moving up into third position behind Perez, Tsukov in fourth, chasing the world champion. Another shake-up further back as Lars Ackerblom manages to get past Spaniard Roberto Alexander, moves up into fifth position. On lap 7, there's a battle for sixth place as Aussie rider Guy Greenland overhauls Roberto Alexander, who's bumped down yet another spot as Guy Greenland moves up into sixth. Up in the lead, Jeremy Perez has cut Georgi Kasha's lead right down and is now just a few ski lengths behind the race leader as the Frenchman zeroes in on the Magyar, and both riders have to negotiate both the rough waters and the crowded field of backmarkers through this tight and short circuit. Another Hungarian, Sheke Scholt, is out of the race, while Lars Ackerblom has managed to move up and overtake Dmitry Tsukov. Ackerblom is fourth. It's the last lap now as Georgi Kasha looks set for a third moto win in the UIM ABP Series and a second podium in a row in 2018. Jeremy Perez trying to close the gap, but also not wanting to take unnecessary risks, knowing a runner-up position behind Kasha and ahead of Abdulrazak would still give him the Grand Prix of Mediterranean title. Kasha wins Moto 2, but there is cruel news for the Hungarian, who receives a 15-second penalty for not holding his race start line, and that gives the Moto 2 win and the Grand Prix of the Mediterranean title to Jeremy Perez. The 15-second penalty drops Kasha down to third in the Moto 2 results as Abdulrazak is runner-up behind Perez. Fourth place goes to Lars Ackerblom, fifth place Anton Pankratov of Estonia, sixth place Spaniard Roberto Alexander and his fellow Spaniard Alejandro Molina, seventh.
I'm very happy. The start was a few confusion. On the start with Yosef, we hit the old shot and we did a stop and go. And after we go back on the race, and I finished very close to Georgi Kasha, but I said in my head, I win like this, so I'll not take risk, and I'm very happy of this win this weekend.
The Grand Prix of Mediterranean winner is Jeremy Perez, his first Grand Prix win in 3 years. Grand Prix runner-up is Yusuf Abdulrazak, and third place yet again for Georgi Kasha. That double Moto Grand Prix win moves Jeremy Perez to the top of the world standings after round 2, just 1 point up on defending world champion Abdulrazak, with Georgi Kasha a solid third, 12 points ahead of fourth place Lars Ackerblom, with another Swede Johan Johansson fifth after finishing 8th in Moto 2. That brings to a close a thrilling Grand Prix of Mediterranean off Olbia, Sardinia, with some of the best racing on water, not to mention the parties, shows, fun, and festivities that go with the UIM ABP lifestyle. See you in Nansha, China for round 3.